Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyabadi Paschatchadeshatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatchadeshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Tanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada
Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Nitai Gouda Haribo
Haribo,
Gouda Haribo
Anita Guru Haribo,
Haribo Haribo Nitai Gouda Haribo
Haribo, Haribo,
Gouda Haribo 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 Nitai Gouda Haribo Kantarai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gouda Premanande
Hari. Oh.
Whew.
You like
Krishna. Welcome, everyone. Bhakti A has transformed himself into Bhakti E for
Yes.
enthusiastic. All right, Krishna. We got Bhakti Adam, Kunja.
Wow.
We got Adishwari Radha Mataji. We got Ishani Devidasi Mataji. And we have Kartik Chandra Prabhu. All right, Krishna. Welcome to all of you. Hope you're all well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are continuing in Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers of Queen Kunti, text 42. We're more than likely going to finish the chapter today. Okay, so 1-8-42, and I think everybody pretty much knows the format. Please, at any time, if you want to share, ask anything or share anything, please do. Just unmute and yell it out. And so I'm going to dive right in with our invocation. If you can, please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatam vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto yabhadrani vidunoti sahrit satam. Nashtaprayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Okay. Fasten your seatbelts, everyone. Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 42. Tvai me nanya vishaya matiramarupate sakrit ratim udvahitat adha gange bhogam udanvati. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Purport. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements, like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, and so on, cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. The so-called affection for family, society, country, and so on consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Arjuna desired not to fight with his brothers and relations just to satisfy his own personal desires. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord. And for his doing so, he became a famous devotee of the Lord. For it is declared in all the scriptures that Arjuna attained spiritual perfection by devotional service to the Lord in friendship. The fighting was there. The friendship was there. Arjuna was there and Krishna was there. but Arjuna became a different person by devotional service. Therefore, the prayers of Kunti also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. Srimati Kunti wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. This unalloyed devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure unalloyed devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. But here the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relation. This tie of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya, because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. Relations of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul are factual relations. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. This relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via medium of the relation with the supersoul. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means to see the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. That is the way of devotional service.
Wow.
Let me just find the meter here. Shri Krishna Krishna, sorry, Shri Krishna Krishna Sakavrishni Rishabhavani, sorry, I can't figure out this meter. Shri Krishna Krishna Saka Krishna Rishabhavani Drug Ajanya Vangsha Dananana Parvarga Virya Govinda Dadvija Shararti Haravatara Yogeshvara Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Sorry about that. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. Purport. A summary of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is made herein by Srimati Kunti Devi. The Almighty Lord has his eternal transcendental abode where he is engaged in keeping Surabhi cows. He is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. He descends on the material world to reclaim his devotees and to annihilate the disturbing elements in groups of political parties and kings who are supposed to be in charge of administration work. He creates, maintains, and annihilates by his unlimited energies, and still he is always full with prowess and does not deteriorate in potency. The cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees of the Lord are all objects of his special attention because they are very important factors for the general welfare of living beings. Sutta uvacha kritayetam kalapadai parinuta kilodaya mandam jahasa vaikunto mohayan eva mayaya. Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. Purport. Anything that is enchanting in the world is said to be a representation of the Lord. The conditioned souls who are engaged in trying to lord it over the material world are also enchanted by his mystic powers, but his devotees are enchanted in a different way by the glories of the Lord, and his merciful blessings are upon them. His energy is displayed in different ways, as electrical energy works in manifold capacities. Srimati Kunti Devi has prayed to the Lord just to enunciate a fragment of his glories. All his devotees worship him in that way, by chosen words, and therefore the Lord is known as Uttama Shloka. No amount of chosen words is sufficient to enumerate the Lord's glory, and yet he is satisfied by such prayers as the Father is satisfied even by the broken linguistic attempts of the growing child. The word Maya is used both in the sense of delusion and mercy. Herein, the word Maya is used in the sense of the Lord's mercy upon Kunti Devi. Tambaram mityupamantriya pravishya gajasahvayam striyascha swapuram yashyan pranaragya nivaritaha. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhishthira, who implored him lovingly. Purport. No one could make Lord Krishna stay at Hastinapur when he decided to start for Dwarka. But the simple request of King Yudhishthira that the Lord remain there for a few days more was immediately effective. This signifies that the power of King Yudhishthira was loving affection, which the Lord cannot deny. The Almighty God is thus conquered only by loving service and nothing else. He is fully independent in all his dealings, but he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. Vyasadya Ishvare Hagyai Krishnena Bhuta Karmana Prabodhito Pitihashayar Nabudyata Sucharpitaha. Translation. King Yudhishthira, who was much aggrieved, could not be convinced, despite instructions by great sages headed by Vyas and the Lord Krishna himself, the performer of superhuman feats, and despite all historical evidence. Purport. The pious King Yudhishthira was mortified because of the massacre of human beings in the battle of Kurukshetra, especially on his account. Duryodhana was there on the throne, and he was doing well in his administration, and in one sense there was no need of fighting, but on the principle of justice, Yudhishthira was to replace them. The whole clique of politics centered around this point. And all the kings and residents of the whole world became involved in this fight between the rival brothers. Lord Krishna was also there on the side of King Yudhishthira. It is said in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva 20, that 640 million men were killed in the 18 days of the battle of Kurukshetra, and some hundreds of thousands were missing. Practically, this was the greatest battle in the world within 5,000 years. This mass killing, simply to enthrone Maharaj Yudhishthira, was too mortifying. So he tried to be convinced with evidences from histories by great sages like Vyas and the Lord himself that the fight was just, because the cause was just. But Maharaj Yudhishthira would not be satisfied, even though he was instructed by the greatest personalities of the time. Krishna is designated herein as the performer of superhuman actions, but in this particular instance, neither he nor Vyas could convince King Yudhishthira. Does it mean that he failed to be a superhuman actor? No, certainly not. The interpretation is that the Lord as Ishvara, or the supersoul in the hearts of both King Yudhishthira and Vyas, performed still more superhuman action because the Lord desired it. As supersoul of King Yudhishthira, he did not allow the king to be convinced by the words of Vyas and others, including himself, because he desired that the king hear instructions from the dying Bhishma Dev, who was another great devotee of the Lord. The Lord wanted that at the last stage of his material existence, the great warrior Bhishma Dev see him personally and see his beloved grandchildren, King Yudhisthira and so on, now situated on the throne, and thus pass away very peacefully. Bhishma Dev was not at all satisfied to fight against the Pandavas, who were his beloved fatherless grandchildren. But the Kshatriyas are also very stern people, and therefore he was obliged to take the side of Duryodhana, because he was maintained at the expense of Duryodhana. Besides this, the Lord also desired that King Yudhisthira be pacified by the words of Bhishma Dev, so that the world could see that Bhishma Dev excelled in all knowledge, including the Lord himself. Any comments, questions at this point?
I don't know this story too well, and I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job of keeping up.
Sure.
So it's it's like Yudhishthir, he wanted okay. Yudhishthir, I'm a little bit lost actually. He was aggrieved, but he couldn't be convinced. He was aggrieved and he couldn't be convinced that I think I just need to be filled in
He's
a little
mortified
bit. I'm
because of
sorry.
the battle of Kurukshetra.
Yes.
How many people died? Basically, from his vision at that point was basically the whole war took place because to put him on.
Oh no.
Krishna himself is explaining uh, Vyas, Vyasadeva himself to glorify Bhishma Dev in that way. Does that make sense?
Most of that cut out for
Can you hear
me.
me?
Most of it cut out. Like pretty much all of that. I'm really sorry. If it does it again, we'll just move on.
Oh,
I can text you about it later or
oh,
something
all
too.
right,
That's cool.
all right. Text for it. Sure. Aharaja dharma sutas chintayan suhridam sneha moha vasamgataha. King Yudhisthira, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. Purport. King Yudhisthira, though he was not expected to become aggrieved like a common man, became deluded by worldly affection by the will of the Lord, just as Arjuna was apparently deluded. A man who sees knows well that the living entity is neither the body nor the mind, but is transcendental to the material conception of life. The common man thinks of violence and non-violence in terms of the body, but that is a kind of delusion. Everyone is duty-bound according to one's occupational duties. A kshatriya is bound to fight for the right cause, regardless of the opposite party. In such discharge of duty, one should not be disturbed by annihilation of the material body, which is only an external dress of the living soul. All this was perfectly known to Maharaj Yudhisthira, but by the will of the Lord he became just like a common man, because there was another great idea behind this delusion. The king would be instructed by Bhishma as Arjuna was instructed by the Lord himself. Haribol Bhava Saroduham Prabhuji. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, Prabhuji. Hari, Hari. We're just starting text 48 of chapter 8, canto 1. Aho me pashyata jnanam hridi rudham daratmanaha parak yashyaiva dehasya bhavyo meksho hinirhitaha. King Yudhisthira said, "Oh my lot, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men." Purport. A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantry, and 65,600 cavalry is called an Akshauhini. And many Akshauhinis were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Yudhisthira, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a huge number of living beings because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is, after all, meant for others. While there is life in the body, it is meant for the service of others, and when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. Text 49. Baladvija sahin mitra pitram bratra guru druha namesya nirayan moksha hyapi varsha yutai. I have killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for all these sins. Purport. Whenever there is a war, there is certainly a massacre of many innocent living beings, such as boys, brahmanas, and women, whose killing is considered to be the greatest of sins. They are all innocent creatures, and in all circumstances, killing of them is forbidden in the scriptures. Maharaj Yudhisthira was aware of these mass killings. Similarly, there were friends, parents, and preceptors also on both sides, and all of them were killed. It was simply horrible for him to think of such killing, and therefore he was thinking of residing in hell for millions and billions of years. Nainuragya praja bhartur dharma yudhe vadho dvisham itimena tu bodhaya kalpate shashanam vachaha. There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizens. But this injunction is not applicable to me. Purport. Maharaj Yudhisthira thought that although he was not actually involved in the administration of the kingdom, which was being carried on well by Duryodhana without harm to the citizens, he caused the killing of so many living beings only for his personal gain of the kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana. The killing was committed not in the course of administration, but for the sake of self-aggrandizement. And as such, he thought himself responsible for all the sins. Strinam adata bandhunam drohoya savihotitaha karma birgriham hedhiyarnaham kalpo vyapohitum. I have killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. Purport. The Grihamades are those whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. Such material prosperity is sometimes hampered by sinful activities, for the materialist is sure to commit sins, even unintentionally, in the course of discharging material duties. To get relief from such sinful reactions, the Vedas prescribe several kinds of sacrifices. It is said in the Vedas that by performing the Ashvamedha Yajna, of course sacrifice, one can get relief from even Brahma Hatya, killing of a Brahmana. Yudhisthira Maharaj performed this Ashwamedha Yajna, but he thinks that even by performing such yajnas, it is not possible to get relief from the great sins committed. In war, either the husband or the brother or even the father or sons go to fight. And when they are killed, a fresh enmity is created, and thus a chain of actions and reactions increases, which is not possible to be counteracted even by thousands of Ashwamedha Yajnas. The way of work, karma, is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously, and thus increases the chain of material activities, binding the performer in material bondage. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:27 and 28, the remedy is suggested that such actions and reactions of the path of work can be checked only when work is done on behalf of the Supreme Lord. The battle of Kurukshetra was actually fought by the will of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, as it is evident from his version. And only by his will was Yudhisthira placed on the throne of Hastinapur. Therefore, factually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. Yatha pankena pankamba surayava surakritam utahatyam tataivaikam nayagyarmarshtumarhati. As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud or purify a wine-stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. Purport. Ashwamedha Yajnas or Gomedha Yajnas, sacrifices in which a horse or a bull is sacrificed, were not, of course, for the purpose of killing the animals. Lord Chaitanya said that such animals sacrificed on the altar of Yajna were rejuvenated and a new life was given to them. It was just to prove the efficacy of the hymns of the Vedas. By recitation of the hymns of the Vedas in the proper way, certainly the performer gets relief from the reactions of sins. But in case of such sacrifices improperly done under inexpert management, surely one has to become responsible for animal sacrifice. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no possibility of performing the yajnas perfectly for want of expert brahmanas who are able to conduct such yajnas. Maharaj Yudhisthira therefore gives a hint to performing sacrifices in the age of Kali. In the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is the performance of Harinam Yajna, inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one should not indulge in animal killing and counteract it by performing the Harinam Yajna. Those who are devotees of the Lord never kill an animal for self-interest, and, as the Lord ordered Arjuna, they do not refrain from performing the duty of a kshatriya. The whole purpose, therefore, is served when everything is done for the will of the Lord. This is possible only for the devotees. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. Hari, Hari. Hari, Hari.
Hari! Hari!
Hari, Hari,
Hari!
Hari, Hari, Hari.
Hari!
Hari, Hari. Hari, Hari.
Hari! Hari! Hari!
Hare Krishna.
Hari! He doesn't want it.
Well, it's at this point we will open it up for discussion points. A little early, but it's good. Good. It's a good junction. Anything you heard or would like to share or ask? Just
What do you think?
wrapped
What do you think
and
about?
wrapped the temple.
What do you think about the idea of a person reciting verse 42 like every day or something?
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, you know, every verse is a transcendental nugget.
That's true. I
Verse
just
42 is
really,
interesting.
I really like the way she said it.
Me too. Hare Krishna. Well,
Uh,
any other points from anybody? Or anything? It's a little early to end, so if there are no points, then I will just continue.
Prabhuji,
Chapter
one
9.
point, um, like there was a verse in the initial where it said, relationships has to be not on the bodily platform, but on the soul to soul. Can you explain that, Prabhu? That is a more, it's a very transcendental. I mean, it looks for me. It was like more a transcendental platform. So, more explanation might be better, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. If you can.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Well, in the purport of text 42, Prabhupada says, this tie of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya, because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. Then he says, relations of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul are factual relations. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relations, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. This relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via medium of the relation with the super soul. So, I mean, as best as I can understand what we're hearing, it's just a matter of connecting the relationships in Krishna consciousness. You know, sometimes, at least for me, as a not as a less advanced, just as an aspiring devotee, I've engaged in my life so much in material activities and not even thought about the Lord at all. And sometimes, at least for myself, I'll start chanting, or I'll have the desire and the intention to connect something with the Lord. And, we have practices, like chanting and hearing chanting, remembering, and so on. At first, it may not seem like such a significant difference is taking place. I'm chanting, but everything kind of seems the same. But but basically, just by simply connecting it, connecting ourself with the Lord, and to whatever degree we can, our relationships. This is basically my understanding of what it means to. It changes the relationship from just a strictly material one to actually having that soul connection on the spiritual platform. And it's very subtle. It's not so much just externally, you know. And this is also the point that I'm thinking of, is how Prabhupada says that, if we ourselves just become a devotee, especially a pure devotee, then so many generations before us in our family and after actually also obtain spiritual perfection just by your doing it. If you've heard that. And, one way we can understand this is like if I actually become a devotee, and then, people in general, especially who don't have a deeper conception, they're very much attached to their material relationships. bodily relations and so on. Even in that purport to verse 42, we heard giving up these attachments doesn't mean giving up affection for others, because we can't do that. It's a symptom of Prabhupada said to cut off the tie of other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others, because this is a symptom of life. So we're naturally affectionate to others. But when one becomes a devotee, then he's automatically connecting others with the Lord, even if you're not directly preaching. Like if you become a devotee, like a serious devotee, especially a pure devotee, one's mother or grandmother or children, whatever relation, they'll still tend to maybe offer some kind of service, try to, some association, some affection, some appreciation. This automatically connects them with Krishna. So, it's like in one level it may be understood that like Krishna is the actual element that makes things transcendental, and in the same way, Krishna is the element that brings us to that spiritual platform in all aspects of life. So, I don't know. Maybe
So,
Prabhuji
the
can
other
share
way,
some realization?
Prabhuji, so the other way to say that is we need to dovetail all our proclivities. We need to dovetail all our proclivities, desires, dovetail in service of Krishna, even our relationship, whatever things. So we have to see how we are, how it is connected with Krishna. That way, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, for example, let us take my son Prabhu. So he's also a child of Krishna, but he's been given to me for a certain time. So if we see that way and serve him, right, something like that, that way, then that becomes also devotion to Krishna, because we are taking care of the child. Is it a correct way to see, Prabhuji? Or?
The last thing you said kind of broke up, but I heard everything up to taking care of the child.
Yes. So that way, then the parenting also becomes that relationship is also now being transcendentalized, not like still in a bodily level, but in a transcendental level. Is it? Is that the? Is there a way to see, right, Prabhu?
Yes, yes, and I think it's also it depends on the consciousness of the individual, because it may be mixed to where, okay, I'm doing this for Krishna, but I'm also a bit attached, or it may just depending on the individual. I think it really depends on you know uh, awareness and affection for Krishna, and individual consciousness to depend, what degree we're actually fully, purely in Krishna consciousness and detached completely, and, you know, between that and being fully attached and totally unaware of Krishna. So, but my understanding is, like the process of raising Krishna conscious children, being in the Grihastha ashram is meant to be a process of taking one from being attached to, being more detached at the other end. So just the taking shelter of the ashram in itself is, one may be very well situated in Krishna consciousness, despite what the external show, or going through different ups and downs, or realizing, oh, okay, I'm acting from a place of attachment or detachment or whatever. I don't know, just some thoughts.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I think nice points. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So it's all about the consciousness of the practitioner. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also meant to be like a dance. You know, like it's a dance where sometimes, functioning in a more detached way, sometimes we're functioning in a more attached way, sometimes we're internally detached but functioning externally attached, and vice versa. And it's just a matter of, you know, going through the process. And like one time personally, I was instructed that I was given some advice that I needed to realize, and I still need to realize, that there's no end goal in devotional service. That the the joy is in the journey of devotional service, and the goal of devotional service is devotional service. If you're engaged in devotional service, you've already obtained the goal, and so it's a matter of, like, at least in a certain context, realizing that and being satisfied with that. Anyway, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Nice point.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Maybe somebody else who actually may have more realization on this topic can share. So, well, any other points from anybody? We're approaching stopping time.
So like in this process of dovetailing everything in Krishna's service, I mean like it's said that you can dovetail anything in Krishna's service, but then again it also seems like there are certain situations where you definitely don't want to be in them if you're trying to do that. Is that correct?
Um, it, I'm not sure. It depends. Not necessarily. It just depends. Because bhakti is not dependent on any external arrangement, but obviously, some arrangements will be more favorable than others.
Okay.
So this is, it's really personal, like we have to take personal guidance from advanced devotees, from our spiritual master, from sadhus, and we have to do our own sincere introspection, and to be able to situate ourselves um, according to our own balance of what we need, how much we can practice, how much, the balance of things. So it's not always so cut and dry.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, okay, we got from Adishri Radha. I think seeing one's children as Krishna's children, you want to raise them nicely in Krishna's service, which makes parenthood devotional service. Absolutely. Absolutely. Transcendentalizes the whole thing. Krishna, thank you for sharing that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, I can't really speak on the topic too much. Hari.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to see if you could just share a realization on the process of hearing. We were talking about how the first canto has so much nectar in regards to hearing, and just any thoughts that you've you know come across in the last few weeks would be a nice way to end, in my opinion.
Well, um, Well, from what I hear, actually, we just read it, I think yesterday, but the basically hearing is so important that if we simply do the hearing process nicely and perfectly, then all the other uh, processes become perfect in themselves in their own ways. But um, if we don't hear nicely, then none of the other processes will be perfect. And so that was kind of mind blowing. And then just in my own experience of, me, I'm just kind of like shooting for the rhino of like, okay, like just trying to like practice on a daily basis, hearing and chanting, especially just japa. Um, it's just hard to explain. It's just so powerful over time. Just practicing. I think there's some special reciprocation, special mercy, and just the very essence of practicing the Yuga Dharma of just chanting Maha Mantra and just hearing the sound vibration and just I mean, and just in my own experience, it's been an experience of just indescribable experience over time. So it's like uh, it's just I don't know. The only thing I can think of is just like if someone is getting full while they're eating, you don't have to give them a certificate to let them know they're done. Like you just like can feel it in your stomach. It's like, yeah, I'm satisfied, and just kind of like that. But it's also backed by Guru Sadhu Shastra. Prabhupada emphasizes and over again sharing it, so that one can rest assured that we're on the right path, just sticking to the simple hearing process. And then whenever you start adding like a daily hearing of Srila Prabhupada's books with the daily chanting of Maha Mantra, then it's just like, oh man, then it just like whole other level of snowballing of just and then if you have deities or pictures of deities or some association or whatever any other anga, then it just automatically is just you could just taken to the next level. Even with deity, I have some deities here, and I always have deities around me wherever I'm at. It seems like, and my main offering to deities is just basically chanting my rounds, just trying and offering just Maha Mantra. Of course, offer some incense, maybe some water, some flowers if I can get them. But it's like everything is perceivably nourished, by watering that root, by just chanting and hearing it. Anyway, I don't know, just some thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. I was kind of hoping that that was the direction you were going to go because I was thinking about how serving your family and these externals that are not necessarily devotional service in themselves, but very much well could be. They're they're more so when you're entwining them with hearing and chanting regularly. I mean, it's hard to notice when you're doing it, but when you're not doing it, it's very obvious that you need to do it. So I just wanted to be encouraged about the importance of that. So thank you.
Sure.
Haribol.
Right, well, yeah. It's like if we just do, especially just chanting of our rounds, then it's like automatically by doing that, we're automatically going to be in a state of like thinking how to do everything else in a more Krishna conscious way. It'll be like automatic, and even if we're not doing everything perfectly externally, um, it's just chanting. It's like just the holy name is so powerful. It's like automatically all other purposes. What is that quote? all purposes by a small well, or served by, I can't remember exactly how Prabhupada put it, like all purposes served by a small well are automatically served by, I don't know, the ocean of, I can't remember, but like, it's like a bigger body of water is going to serve all the purposes of a smaller body of water. So it's like, it's automatic with just chanting. Yeah, and even like, in my experience, you know, just getting the inspiration and taste to discipline myself in other ways comes from just at least, committing myself to hearing and chanting a certain amount, or at least a little bit, at least 16 rounds, and a little bit of hearing Prabhupada's books. Hare Krishna. Oh. Maybe anybody else here want to share before I leaving? Hare Krishna. But yeah, thank you so much. If nobody else has anything, then we can end it here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yay.
Vanchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki.
Ja.
Alright, Bal. Thank you guys so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hari.
This is awesome.